to play. We've got stories for your day. From Onefinity, it's clear to see the finest CNC. It's the Cutting Edge Podcast. Let's take a flight.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in and watching all of these lives and everything throughout this week. This has been an insane week of lots of announcements. We've been out there announcing stuff and being on, lives and stuff, and you guys have tuned in for a lot of it. So we really, really appreciate you guys engaging with us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, one of the things that makes Onefinity so special is the community, and it's just really cool to get to see how you guys have interacted with us this week and the excitement around all these new products. Obviously, we've been working very hard for the past year to get this stuff out to you guys, so we were really excited to see your reactions, and it was just awesome seeing all of the positive interaction with us and seeing how everybody reacted to these new products. I think this was probably our best product launch so far as the full week. Just everything was, I know the term game changer gets used a lot, but everything is like kind of like that, the game changer type of accessories or upgrades where it really kind of, it takes the Onefinity, which is already, we feel, at the top of the hobby CNC line. And it almost pushes us into like it's not a commercial CNC still, but all of the added functionality and the accessories really kind of make it more comparable. And with these two bundles that we've released the last 2 days, I mean, at the price point, you just can't find that anywhere else where you're getting that much value in one spot. So
yeah,
we're really proud of it, and we appreciate you guys putting up with us all week. So
yeah, it's been a heck of a week. And it for me and Stone, it hasn't been just this week that we've been working on this stuff.
I wish.
It's been, yeah, right. You wish. It's been months. This has been months in the making, and it's just been the last week that we've been like really, really putting our time in, and like just staying up late, getting stuff done last minute, getting stuff launched, announcing things, and spending a lot of time engaging with people. And so that's we enjoy that, but
Yeah.
it's been exhausting. So we're happy that we're at the end of it, but we're just going to recap all the launches that we've had this week, and I don't know, that'll be. I think we're launching this the day that we are opening up orders.
Yeah.
So
if you need a brief synopsis of kind of what we released this week, this is a good quick rundown of everything that we released. We're not going to get too detailed just because it is very late. We just finished our last live of the week, and we both need sleep. As you can see by our titles, Morgan is tired, and I am sick and tired, literally. So it's been a long week. We need some sleep, but we wanted to make sure that we put this out there so you guys could have something to refer to. And obviously, you can go find a lot of this information other places, but we figured this would be the quickest, easiest way to get it out in one fell swoop. So with that being said, let's just dive into it.
And I want to clarify, by sick and tired, Stone doesn't mean he's disgruntled. That means that he is literally physically ill, like with, bacterial infections and stuff, and sleep deprived. That's what that means.
Yeah. I have a virus and a double ear infection right now. So
there we go. See?
But we've made it. I can see the finish line. But yeah, so let's jump into it. So
Monday was Monday. We announced two things. The Airweights Slats. Airweights is somebody that we have partnered with recently, and he is bringing vacuum work holding to the hobby CNC market, something that has been traditionally more akin to the industrial space, but he's brought it to the hobby market, And specifically in the last couple of months, we've been working with him to get them to where they are optimized for Onefinity machines. So they work with Onefinity machines on the quick change wasteboard. So you can have vacuum work holding built into your machine, and it's not it's not like a modular add-on. It's like a built-in thing. It's bringing Onefinity machines and all the accessories and the way that it's set up into more kind of into the industrial space, um, or at least bringing it into the functionality of industrial space without getting into the industrial space.
Exactly. I mean, obviously we released a lot of things, but the long story, to make a long story short, it takes all of the things that an industrial CNC would have, um, and it allows you to put all of those onto your either new or your existing Onefinity machine. Um, and it does it at a price point that is much more attainable than if you were to uh, try to do all of that and get the same exact um, quality product. You can't. I mean, the airweight slats. I'm not going to say they're cheap, but for the price that they're listed at, the materials that they're made of, um, all of the work that has gone into them. I mean, you really can't beat that deal. Um, it's one of those things where Jace has taken um, his airweight system, like Morgan said, he has his modular system that you can remove or whatever, but he's taken that and he's added it to our QCW so that not only do you have the vacuum holding, you also have the functionality of the T-tracks, so you can use that for work holding. And it all just directly interfaces with the existing Onefinity ecosystem. So you don't have to make any weird changes. You don't have to customize anything. You just get it and you put it on the machine and it works. So, yeah. So it's kind of revolutionized the hobby space in that aspect, I guess.
Yeah, I think that that was one thing that the hobby CNC space was where the hobby CNC space was lacking was
Mhm.
vacuum work holding, because there's no real good solution for that. It was always either, CA glue and tape, or double-sided tape, or brad nails, or screws, or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and this kind of makes it a more professional kind of setup.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, the second thing we released on Monday, it's not a new product per se, but it is a special bundle promotion. We offered something similar last year, but it's a little bit different this year. But it was the Ginny Together for the Holidays pack. So that is a 6-bit pack from Cadence Manufacturing. Um, and if you're not familiar with Cadence Manufacturing or Ginny bits, they are uh, just great high quality bits. They're made in America here by a guy named Cody. And if any of you have met Cody or talked with him online, you know he is just an awesome dude. Um, and he really cares about what he's doing, the product he's making. But that started out as a personal project for him. He was using a hobby CNC, and he found that some of the tools that he was using were not up to snuff for him. So he started having his own made, and that kind of turned into other people wanting to try them out. And now he's running a full time business, making the tools himself. Um, and like I said, he's just a great dude. The tools are fantastic. Um, and that bit pack is a really, really great deal to get, like I said, 6 CNC bits for a great price. And you're not going to find that anywhere else, I don't think. Um,
One of the
yeah.
cool things too about that relationship, they launched on the same day. So when we partnered with Airways, I went
Mhm.
out to Colorado to visit their facility, and just kind of like shoot kind of like a little profile piece on, on his operation. And he was telling me that, like, there's one kind of bottleneck that he has, um, and it had to do with a bit change that he needed to make to get these things done. and that if he just had the specific profile bit, that he would be able to do this thing without a bit change. And so I said, like, hey, you should talk to Cody, because
Yeah.
he makes bits. He doesn't just order them from overseas and rebrand them and sell them. He makes them in
Yeah.
Arizona. So talk to Cody. And so they did get in touch. And now Cody is making the bits that Jace uses to make air weights. And so I just thought that was a beautiful what do they call that? Synergy.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a beautiful connection that they were able to make to help each other out, and both have been advantageous to the Onefinity ecosystem, I guess.
Well, and what adds to that, and you might have already mentioned this and I just missed it, but Jace, who makes the air weights with the Ginny bits, is making them on Onefinity CNCs.
Yes.
So it is really cool just to kind of see how all three of those companies, how we work together, and we're literally using each other's products to make new products. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
So, so Monday we had the airweight slats. They're available for the woodworker, the journeyman, and the foreman QCW's Elite, Pro, Original. And then we also had the Ginny bit together for the holidays pack. So you guys check those out. But Tuesday was another really big day with another one of our partner companies. And that was a new laser from JTech Photonics.
The laser.
Lasers.
The laser is freaking crazy.
It is wild. So we got to see it for the first time in person at the Texas Woodworking Festival a few weeks ago. Jay brought one down, or up, I should say. I guess he came from the south. But he brought one just so we could see it in private. And the thing is just, it's beautiful, and it's legit. I mean, this is a 64-watt diode laser. But what's really special about it is it's not only a 64-watt. It has a switch, a three-way switch, so that you can dial the power down. So you can also have a 44-watt laser or a 24-watt laser, all from the same laser head, without having to change anything other than the position on that switch.
So the last 2 years, last year we announced the 44-watt laser as its own thing, and the year prior we announced a 24-watt laser, and so this year we announced the 64-watt. But because it's switchable between all three modes, it includes the 24 and the 44 watt in this one unit. So like it's basically all three of those lasers in one.
Yeah.
And it's got a really cool feature that I love. There's a switch that you can switch on, and it's a low power aiming function, to where like it'll give you some crosshairs, so where you can position your laser and set your work origin without having to go into your controller and enter M commands in your MDI on your controller. Huge, because like I couldn't stand like being like getting it kind of close and being like, all right, now I got to go to my controller and be like M10 or M whatever.
M3.
M3S 10
Insert
or whatever.
number.
Yeah, whatever the number was. M3S whatever. No, like you can just flip the switch and it'll give you crosshairs to where you can line up where your work origin is without having to do anything on your controller. I thought that was a beautiful, genius,
very nice touch
addition. Yeah.
But aside from the crosshairs and the switchable power levels, it still has the integrated air assist, and that is something that you're always going to use with this laser. You have to use the air assist. But then it also has another really cool function that they had something sort of similar with the 24 and the 44 where you could adjust the focus. But what's really cool about this new one is the actual laser head will drop down below the bottom of the laser shroud, so that if you want to do lasers on top of like a 3D carve, you can do that, and it won't actually the shroud won't get in the way. So you can get really, really nice detail on top of a 3D carve or something like that. Or if you had something that you just needed to adjust the focus for, that can do that too. Um, but it really, like Morgan said, it's three lasers in one, really. And there's just so much you can do with a 64-watt laser. I mean, that's getting to the point where it's really getting up there. I mean, diodes start at like 30 watts, but really powerful diode lasers start usually like 60, 80. So with the exception of clear acrylic, you can do just about anything with this laser. It's just kind of a
And I like how all the parts of it were arranged. So like
mhm,
on the 24 and the 44 watt, there's a fan on the front.
mhm,
The front is clean. The front has nothing on it. And I think the 24 watt had the air assist nozzle coming out of the front.
yep,
So just like a little bit, not saying it's bad, but like just it's so clean the way that this new one is. The air assist has it's all coming out of the top, and it's a single wire that connects to the controller coming out of the top. And the front is totally flush, and the fans are all you, you can't see them.
yeah.
It's very well arranged, very well put together. Very, I don't know. I'm super impressed with it.
Yeah. And another thing we didn't mention was on all of the previous lasers, there was actually a wire that came out of the laser head housing. And they've changed it with this one. So the cable plugs directly into the top of the laser head. So you don't have that extra wire sticking out that could get in the way. So it's not only new, more powerful, it has some extra features, but it's also just very, very cleanly put together.
Yeah, very thoughtfully designed,
Yes.
I would say.
So that was Tuesday, the JTech 64/44/24 watt laser.
Yeah.
And then
So I'm still amazed that it's all three of those in one.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Jay's a mad scientist.
Yeah. And if you don't know anything about Jay Johnson, guy that is founded and runs JTech and designs all their lasers. Dude is just a class act individual.
Mhm.
So everything is American made. So if you want a laser, he's the person to support. Because
Yep.
yeah, we love
And
him.
he's the only Onefinity backed laser company. He's the only supplier that we support his products.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out JTech Lasers.
Wednesday. What was Wednesday? Wednesday
Wednesday,
was
my dudes, was the rotary axis.
the Rotary. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's something that people have been asking for, I think, since the
Since
very
the
beginning.
inception of Onefinity.
Yeah, since we announced that we exist and are making CNCs, people are, what about a rotary? You gonna have a rotary? And so it's taking quite some time, but I think it was important the time that we took, because we wanted to do it right. You could have just gotten we could have just gotten something from somewhere else, slapped our logo on it, been like, here's a rotary.
Yeah.
But that's not at all what we did or wanted to do. We wanted to make something that was really, really nice.
Yeah. And I mean, just looking at the rotary, it has the Onefinity feel to it, just looking at it. I mean, it is milled aluminum on the ends and it's all anodized black. And then you've got the chrome plated steel tubes that act as the guide rails for the tailstock. it's very, very, I would say, premium feeling. Just like the Onefinity rails, you know, people look at them and they say, I didn't realize it was going to be that heavy. But it's all solid metal. Um, and the cool thing about it is that it works not only with the Elite series, which I figure everyone expected, but it also works with the Buildbotics controller, so the Pro and the original. And one of the things that we really focused in on, because there have been people that have kind of Frankensteined their machines where they took a motor off of the B axis and um, they used that as the rotary axis. But what that doesn't allow you to do is it doesn't allow you to continue to use the Y axis. And what we've done with this now is we've come out with the splitter box for the Y axis. And what that does is it actually enables the rotary axis to work without taking away the Y axis functionality. So you can use all four of the axes still at the same time. And on top of that, like it's really pretty inexpensive for what it is too. Um, it's one of those things where could you do it for cheaper and get stuff off of Amazon? Maybe, but you're not going to get the same setup that's going to be plug and play and easy to use. And like I said, it works with every single machine we have, which is just crazy. We're still getting a lot of questions about, will this only work with the Elite? But it works with every single machine. It's super easy to set up, and you know it's going to work. That's the big thing. You don't have to make any guesswork anymore about setting up your own. It comes straight from Onefinity. We support it. We warranty it. And if you have problems with it, we'll help you. So, yeah.
I think that's the big thing, is that it's made by, supported by, comes from Onefinity.
Mhm.
And if you're having questions about it, or if you're having any kind of struggles with it, which we hope you don't have, but it's supported by Onefinity. You get something from anywhere else, even if you are able to connect it, hook it up, and get it to run, kind of. That's not something that we support. So that is that's a huge advantage, is that you've got this thing at a pretty comparable price to any other third party stuff that you might be able to get, and cobbled from us and supported by us. So it's a huge advantage.
Yeah. So, I guess the last couple of things on the Rotary, it comes in two sizes. There's one for the woodworker, and then there's one for the journeyman and foreman. So the woodworker, it lets you cut up to 21 inches long, 7-inch diameter, and the journeyman and foreman, still the same 7-inch diameter, but you get 37 inches of cutting length. So
That's pretty exciting. Oh, okay.
sorry.
No, I saw
muted
you.
myself so I
You
could
muted.
cough.
I was like, I thought maybe that was a mistake, but then I saw you coughing.
Yeah. Still trying to get over this junk. So
Yeah.
all
right.
But yeah,
So
so
that was
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
Rotary.
The Wednesday Rotary.
Yeah.
After the Rotary was what? Thursday. Thursday was the
was
Spindle.
the Redline spindle kits.
Yeah. So that was kind of a huge deal.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, that was a little. It was a little bit of a huge deal, because people have been asking about a Rotary since we came out, and we didn't have a Rotary of our own. There have been Rotaries that people have bought aftermarket, third party.
Do you mean spindles?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Spindles. There have been spindles that people have bought third party, aftermarket, put them on their machines, and we didn't support those. And the reason for that is because we don't make them. We have no idea how they're made. We have no real way to support them any intelligently, because we don't know what's in them. We don't know how they're made. but we didn't want to just put out any spindle because there's tons of them out there. You can get a cheap one on the internet basically anywhere. But what we've experienced from a customer service standpoint is people are having problems with those. And so that's not what we wanted to do. So we really took our time. Really wanted to if we when we put out a spindle, be able to trust it and trust that we're not going to have a tons of problems with it. And we landed on Redline CNC. Their
Yeah.
spindles because they are outstanding.
Well, the biggest thing about Redline is they are the only spindle kit in the world, at least that we're aware of, that is safety certified. And I know there's been some backlash on the term safety certified because it's not UL or CE certified, and I'll explain that to you. So UL and CE are the generally accepted kind of global electronic certifications. And in order to obtain that certification, you have to have a minimum amount of product because it costs millions and millions of dollars to get those certifications. So what they do with smaller batch products like Redline spindles is they will do what's called a field evaluation. In that field evaluation, basically, you have a third party company, and what they do is they come in and they do the same exact testing, making sure that all of the the requirements for UL or CE or whatever it may be are met. But because it is a smaller batch where you can't, you can't afford to pay millions and millions of dollars for a small amount of product versus hundreds of thousands of these things. So what it does is it gets all of those requirements. They make sure that it meets all of those things, and they give you a field evaluation certification, which says yes, this meets all of these things. It's just not being mass produced to the point where it's worth spending the money to get those certifications. So it does meet all of those standards. So it is just as safe as a UL or CE certification. It's just a different way of going about it because of the quantity that we're working with. So
I'm glad you addressed that because that's a question that we've gotten. And that's basically what I knew, but I didn't exactly know how best to communicate that. So
yeah,
it's it everything that you have that has that certification, that sticker on it, UL or CE, it meets all those same requirements.
yeah.
It's just
I mean, obviously,
a different method that we use to get that certification.
well, yeah, it's like Redline is not making as many spindles as Apple is making iPhones. So we're not going to get the same certification because we're not mass producing them, or Redline, I guess, isn't mass producing them. But yeah, so it gives us the benefit of having that there. And it also, I mean, one is just peace of mind, but we've had spindles from Redline for what, 3 or 4 months now, at least.
Yeah.
And I've not had a single problem with mine. I don't think Morgan has either. I mean, he could speak for himself, but
No, and the other big thing is the metal enclosure.
I believe.
Yeah, so like if you look at the instructions from any spindle and VFD kit that you get, it'll tell you that to reduce or well, you can't completely eliminate, but to reduce electromagnetic interference, they say to put it into a metal enclosure, into a metal box, and hardly anybody does that. And we have had lots of customers that have had trouble with electromagnetic interference. And so it being in a metal box, in a metal enclosure, that eliminates that right off the bat. We can
Well, and not just the metal
rule that
enclosure. but all of the connections and the wiring, all of the wires are shielded, but all of the connection points are also optically isolated. So that also is doing a lot to prevent any electronic noise that's being generated by the VFD, which is high frequency. Um, so it puts off a lot of noise, but those optically isolated connectors also prevent that from traveling down those cables. So it really just makes it to where it is not only safe, um, it's going to take a lot of headache out of your spindle setup and spindle use. So
Yeah. So very pleased with that. With that partnership. Very, very pleased.
are we going to pretend like
Because
your
that's
elbow
something that people have
off
been
the table?
wanting for a long time. What's up?
I was just laughing because I saw your elbow slip off the table and you tried to play it off.
Yeah.
It's late, guys.
It's late. It's late. We're
But
so
yeah, so Thursday we released the Redline spindle kits. Those work for all of the Onefinity machines. I don't know if we mentioned that, but they work for the Elite, the Pro, the Original. Um, any machine that we sell, you can put a Redline spindle kit onto, and it will be a direct plug and play connection to make it super easy for you. So that was Thursday. Friday, we might
Friday.
have broke the internet.
Yeah. Friday, we launched the Rapid Change ATC automatic tool changer that was specifically designed for Onefinity machines.
Mhm.
And the amazing thing about this auto tool changer is that it does not use pneumatics. Traditionally, all of every ATC for CNCs has used a pneumatic system, and they've had to have specialized collets and specialized spindle systems to be able to run it. Um, this this system uses the motion of the spindle itself to uh, to be able to change bits, to lock them in, change them, move them without pneumatics. And what that does is that significantly reduces all the extra stuff that you need to have for an ATC.
Mhm.
It makes it just where it's this one small compact unit that works incredibly well, and it uses regular collets and regular collet nuts. Um, it's honestly like the first time I saw it, I was blown away because I was like, this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. This is
Mhm.
completely different than anything I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it really takes a lot of the headache away because you have no pneumatics, so you don't have to have a compressor running. You don't have the added noise from that. Um, but you also kind of have a little peace of mind because, I mean, obviously there are some safeties that go into pneumatic tool changers. Um, but for if any reason, if you were to lose air, the pressure is what holds that tool in there. So if you lose that pressure, the tool can come out. And if the spindle is spinning at a high RPM and that happens, that's not good. Um, but with this, because the collet nut is what is being tightened or loosened, and it's tightened just like you would if you tightened it with wrenches, um, it's not just going to fly off, even if something did happen. So it's a very safe system as well. Um, so it's super easy to connect. It is a fourth of the price of a standard like pneumatic ATC system. And on top of that, it is sold and supported by Onefinity, which is always going to be a huge deal. So um it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And what's really cool about that is this was actually something that Don, who started Rapid Tool Change, was working on before we were even aware of it. So he started off making it work for his Onefinity. I think he had an original woodworker or a journeyman, something like that. But he got it working on that, and then after that, we found him, and he's kind of agreed to, well, I say kind of, he's agreed to work with us, and he helped develop this specific tool rack and this system specific for Onefinity. So this is a Onefinity specific item. Like I said, it works on all of our machines. So we're really excited to not only announce this, but to continue to work with him and improve on the system and see what else we can come up with them. So
Yeah, and I think it's really cool that we came up with this, because when we announced the elite series, and that it had a Masso controller, and people knew that the Masso controller would support all sorts of third party stuff, like it controls like water jets and plasma and all that stuff, but like
yeah,
an ATC. Like when we announced the Elite Series, people were like, "Oh, now you can have an ATC. When are you going to have that?" And we held, because we didn't want to just throw another ATC from just whatever, import it and throw our brand on it.
yeah,
We wanted something that was going to be something that we could rely on, something that we could support, and something that where uh like we worked with them closely. And
yeah,
so that's where Rapid ATC came in. And it just happens to be that it doesn't only work with Masso, it works with the BuildBotics controller.
hmm
And we can make it work with really anything that we come out with in the future that that controls these machines. We can make it work with this ATC, because we are working closely with Rapid ATC.
yeah. Like Morgan said, we're working directly with them. We talked a lot this week specifically, just making sure we had everything lined up correctly for the launch, and we had Dawn on our live Friday night. I'd encourage you guys to go watch that on the YouTube channel if you have questions about the ATC specifically. Morgan and I obviously have got them, and we've kind of messed around with it, done some tool changes and stuff. But Don, I mean, this is his brainchild, so he could tell you anything and everything about it that you would ever want to know. He is a wealth of knowledge on it, and it's just a really cool product, honestly. The first time I watched it changing tools, and like, just, I don't know, it's just crazy to see how it works. And it's so simple to set up. Like, it really is. So
It's one of those things that, like, I saw it for the first time and I was like, why didn't anybody else think of that? Like, it's always been with pneumatics. Like, why didn't anybody else think about just the motion of the spindle tightening onto a collet nut
yeah,
and pulling a collet in? Like, I don't know. It's just one of those, like, can't believe nobody's thought of this yet.
yeah.
Kind of
So
thing.
just for the people who are listening and maybe haven't seen, the way this works is it uses the clockwise or counterclockwise function on your spindle, and it will spin clockwise to, basically, it spins up to 2400 RPMs. And once it gets up to the correct RPMs, it drops down into the collet nut that is called for in your G code. And it has 3 little ball bearings in there. And what those ball bearings do is they prevent the nut from spinning once it gets pushed down to a certain point. So it pushes down into the spring-loaded cup with the collet nut, with the collet and the bit in it, and then it hits those 3 ball bearings. That locks the collet in place, and once it's done that, it will stop spinning. It'll raise up. It will touch off of your tool setter, and then it will go into whatever carve you have programmed. And then when it's time for a bit change, it just spins in reverse at that same RPM. Drops it off the same way it picks it up, and moves on, picks up the next tool, touches off, and goes on to cutting. So it is very, very efficient. It's very quiet, except for the half second that it is slamming against those ball bearings. But even then, it's not unbearable. You're not going to hurt your ears or anything.
One of the
And
questions
it's
that we've gotten a lot is like, how do you know that it's tight enough?
yeah,
Um,
so we actually have a lot of data that we've collected on that, and it should be on the forum already. Um, Under the ATC section. So you can see like the actual torque specs on the collet nuts and all of those measurements that we've taken throughout our testing over the last few months. Um, but this really started, I guess, back in March of this year, where we reached out to Don, and then from there it's just grown, and we've gotten to the point now where we've launched it and it goes on sale. Well, it'll be on
tomorrow.
sale by the time you're listening to this. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, but it's a really cool product. It's really cool that he's been willing to work so closely with us and kind of make this fit our needs. Um, and it's just a really cool way to upgrade your CNC. Um, and it's at a price point that is attainable for a lot more people than a traditional ATC system would be. So,
Absolutely. And the other thing I was going to mention was the rotation of your spindle, the rotation of the bit is opposite the rotation of tightening your collet nut. So like as it's moving through material, um there's no way that it's going to get any looser. It's only going to get tighter.
mhm.
Any resistance is going to just cause it to get even tighter. Um, so that's just another thing to consider. Um, because trust me, like when I first saw this, I was kind of nervous about. I was like, how's that gonna work? But then when you really consider it in the rotation of the bit and how things, like tighten and stuff, like you honestly, you really wouldn't even need to do any more than hand tighten your collet nut for your bit to stay in place and run an operation. Now, I'm not saying I recommend that, but it's never going to get any looser than the way that it is uh, before you start an operation because of the rotation of the bit is
Yeah.
opposite of the collet nut.
Definitely don't put your collar nut on hand tight, especially if you're using something like an upcut bit, because that's going to pull the bit down into the material. Um, and if it's not tight enough, that will pull it out. But you're not going to run into those issues with the rapid tool change ATC. And it does have fail safes in it. So if there's something that goes wrong during a tool load or unload, it will stop itself to prevent any damage to the tool rack, to your collet, your nut, your tool. Or the machine. So there's all those safeties built into it. If you listen to our live, Don even said he is a big safety guy. Obviously, he designed this at first for himself. So with that in mind, I mean, if he trusts it for himself, why he's going to be uh, sure that it's safe for everyone else to use too. So you don't have to worry about that. Um, there's a lot of data out there on it. There's lots of videos already out on his YouTube channel if you want to look at that stuff. And like I said, we'll have a lot more information and video and things like that on that coming out here soon. So that was Friday. The last 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, we did not announce any new products, but we did announce some promotions regarding the existing machines and some of those products. So yeah, Saturday, take it away.
Saturday, we announced the Pro and Redline Spindle promotion. So if you bought if you buy a Pro Series machine, you get a 65 millimeter Redline spindle kit included with it, totally free. There is if you really want an 80 millimeter spindle kit, you can do that. That is an option. That's a little bit more, but if you
It's
get
about,
the any Pro Series model, was that?
I was going to say, if you get the 65, it's a free thing. If you decide that you want the 80 millimeter, whether it's the 1.5 or the 2.2 kilowatt, it is an $80 upcharge. So
Yeah.
even if it's at that price point, $80 for a
80
spindle,
bucks.
where
Whatever.
you're not going to find that anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, buy any Pro Series machine and you get a spindle with it, which is that's bonkers. Like usually, like any other brand that has a spindle option, you're spending like $500.
mhm.
That's a $500 add-on for 4 or 5, whatever. Like it's a lot. So like for free, I mean that's crazy. It's crazy.
Can't beat it.
And they were when they told me this, I was like, "Are you guys sure?" They're like, "Yes, we're sure." So
We
okay,
were sure.
we were sure. I
And
say
then
they like I'm not part of it. Like I just mean
this
like
was
people who people who make decisions higher than I do. They're like, "Yeah, we're sure, we're doing it." It's like, okay.
oh, I'm out of that too. Then I'm not part of that. Anyways, so yeah, Saturday Pro Series, all machines for a limited time will come with a free spindle. We haven't set an end date for that promotion yet, but as soon as we do, we'll put that out there. So moving on to Sunday, which is today that we are recording this, for the
Technically.
next 14 minutes for Morgan at least.
Yeah.
The thing that we announced today was that the Elite Series machines, well, two things really. Kind of backing up, on Friday we announced that going forward from now on, and actually going retroactively, going back to November 1st, if you ordered a machine, all of the Elite Series machines and the Elite Upgrade Kit will now come standard with the braking motor for the Z-axis. Before, it was an optional add-on because we did not support or offer a spindle. But now that we are offering these Redline spindle kits, we're just going to make that standard so that you don't have to worry about whether or not you need it or not. It will come on the machine so that whether you have a router or a spindle, you'll be set up for success there. Now, jumping back forward to Sunday, if you order an Elite machine for a limited time, not only do you get the free Redline spindle, like Morgan mentioned,
But not just a 65 millimeter.
not just
you
a
get an 80 millimeter
80
spindle.
millimeter, and you get the rapid change ATC for free. And
Not
you
for
get
free.
a tool set.
Not for free.
Not for free, but
No, it's a kit. It's the ultimate
yes,
elite. It's the ultimate
but
elite package. Where for only slightly more
yes,
than just the machine normally would be, you get the spindle and the ATC. I think it's roughly $400 more, something
yes.
like that.
So, for the Elite Series Foreman, for the machine itself, it is $39.73.75. For the Elite Ultimate Package Foreman with the Redline spindle, the rapid change ATC, and the tool setter, it is $44.75. So, like Morgan said, is that right? Yeah. So $500, and you get an ATC, a spindle, and a tool setter, which is a $1,600 value. So you're basically getting $1,000 off of the complete system setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I asked the shot callers here at Onefinity, is like, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Yes, we're sure. We're doing this." I'm like, "Okay." Then I'll tell the people.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously that's not just like a crazy price for a full like setup, but like you're getting an 80 millimeter spindle of your choice, 1.5 or 2.2, and you're getting a ATC. I just don't know. I don't know of any other hobby CNC out there that offers that, not only just like that setup, but that setup at that price point. So obviously we're proud of our machines. We think that, or we'd like to think that we're up at the top of the hobby level. But having an ATC and a spindle for that price, I mean, you're not going to get a setup like that anywhere else. I don't know what else to say other than that.
All right, well, good talk. We're gonna cut it off right here.
But I mean, really, I mean, there's not really too much more to say to that, other than it's a dang good deal.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable deal. I thought I thought just the machines themselves are unbelievably well priced, but with a spindle and an ATC included, it's just there's right now there's nothing better than that deal, and it's not going to be like an ongoing thing. This isn't going to be just like a package that you can get forever. It's there's a shelf life here.
Yeah.
So
This is one, and again, we haven't set the end date for this promotion yet, but as soon as we do set an end date for this limited time deal, we will make an announcement of it so that you guys are aware and still have time to get your orders in if you want to. But yeah, that's what happened in the world of Onefinity this week. If you missed out somehow, if you've been living under a rock, but we're very excited to bring these products to the market, and we hope you guys are just as excited as we are.
Yeah, just I mean, like Sona, I'm 8 minutes from midnight here on Sunday night, and for the last 7 days we've had a product launch and just like continual engagement throughout the day and well into the wee hours of the morning for the last week. So we're very tired, but we're just like we're thriving on that that adrenaline. Just
we're living off of y'all's energy.
It's been so exciting. It's been so exciting. But yeah, we are at this point. I think this concludes our launch week.
Well,
as exciting as it's been kind of sad.
It concludes it for you. When it goes live tomorrow, I've got to deal with the support end of things. So,
well, yeah,
but
sure,
the hard work is done. Again, we're just super excited for you guys to get this stuff into your hands, start seeing you use it. But if you have any further questions regarding anything from this week's launch, obviously you can ask questions on all of those posts, and we'll get to those as soon as possible. But you can also email us info@onefinitycnc.com or support@onefinitycnc.com. Support's going to be the best place for more technical questions. If you just have questions about ordering, get with info, or you can give us a call. Our number is 888-717-4242.
Still can't believe that you have that memorized by heart.
I've worked here for 4.5 years, and I've used it a lot. So
there you go. But you shouldn't really have any technical questions about any of the stuff that we announced, because you're not going to get that within the next week.
Yeah. But I mean, I understand people have questions about setups and things like that, or what's the best thing for your setup. If you have any confusion or anything like that, don't hesitate to reach out. That's what we're there for, and we'll be happy to get you fixed up and on your way to setting up your new Onefinity or Onefinity accessories. So
on your way to CNC success. CNC success.
Possibilities are infinite.
Thank you, everybody, for everybody who has tuned in this week and participated, gotten in the comments, and asked questions. And we look forward to
something in my teeth that whole time, and you didn't say anything, bro.
You're what?
I had something in my teeth the whole time, and you didn't say anything.
Well, I've been wearing veneers this whole time, and you didn't say anything. So,
oh man,
we're both at fault.
It's late. We hope you guys enjoyed this week. We're going to sign off of here, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody. Y'all be good.
Bye.
Bye.
Gather around, it's time to play. We've got stories for your day. From Onefinity, it's clear to see the finest CNC. It's the Cutting Edge Podcast. Let's take a flight with designs and tools that ignite. From wood to steel, we peel and reveal the art of making done just right. Tips and tricks that elevate craftsmanship that's first rate. Join the fun, we've just begun the cutting edge away. On this journey side by side, hear the stories far and wide. From dream to deed with utmost speed, where passion takes its stride. It's the Cutting Edge Podcast. Let's take a flight with designs and tools that ignite. From wood to steel, we peel and reveal the art of making done